Have you ever wondered why a man's heart can beat with the urgency of a hunted animal when faced with a woman who carries the quiet flame of her own mystery? In the dim corridors of his psyche, she becomes a cipher, an enigma he cannot decode, a presence that unsettles every carefully constructed fortress of his mind. She moves through his world like a moonlit tide, impossible to seize, pulling at his shadowed currents of desire. He senses in her the echo of ancient archetypes, the priestess of silence, the dark maiden of untold depths, the sovereign queen of her own soul. And in that realization, he is both terrified and intoxicated. She does not beckon with easy promises. Her allure is woven from threads of introspection and fierce autonomy. In her solitude, she communes with the parts of herself that most men fear to face. The hidden woman of the shadow, the wounded child, the wild goddess who defies expectation. To watch her is to glimpse the possibility of one's own unclaimed depths. He sees her, seated by candlelight, reading Seneca's Stoic meditations, a temple built of paper and ink around her heart. She is both sanctuary and labyrinth. And in trying to possess her, he only confirms the emptiness within his own vessel. She does not yield to his projections. When he casts upon her the longing of an abandoned boy seeking a mother's comfort, she meets him with the cool clarity of a mirror. His abandonment wounds glare back, unflinching, demanding recognition. And in that moment, he recoils. He has never faced such unadorned reflection before. But when he returns, trembling, it is in search of reconciliation with the lost fragments of himself. Her detachment is not cruelty, it is an invitation to accountability. To claim her, he must first claim himself. There is a sacred violence in this dynamic, a necessary rupture of false securities. For when she holds her silence, she is speaking the language of the unconscious. Each pause is a threshold, each unattainable glance a summons into the caverns of the soul. He hears her absence like a siren's call. The more she withdraws, the deeper he dives, propelled by a need that transcends the physical. His obsession is not mere infatuation, but a desperate yearning for meaning, a hunger to transcend the superficial scripts of courtship and ego. She understands the power of that hunger. In the ritual of her morning meditation, she greets the stillness within, the same stillness that beckons him to enter his own inner sanctum. She channels the feminine numinous energy, the anima in Jungian terms, weaving a tapestry of intuition around her. When he watches this, he is drawn into a trance as though her calm radiance holds the key to all the mysteries he's been avoiding. In her presence, he is unmade and remade, purified by the fire of her unyielding self-possession. Yet this journey is perilous. His ego, accustomed to conquest, resists the truth of his dependency. He may lash out, project his insecurities, believing that to criticize her independence will tether her to him. But she remains unshaken, knowing that true power flourishes only in freedom. He learns that obsession is a two-edged sword. It wounds the pursuer as deeply as it entices him. To continue chasing, he must dismantle the false idols within, the need for validation, the fear of abandonment, the hunger for control. As he peels away these layers, he discovers relics of past betrayals and ancient fears that have shadowed his relationships. He confronts the boy inside who craves approval and the man who fears emptiness. Her spiritual mystery becomes a guiding lantern, illuminating the unseen corridors of his own psyche. He realizes that the intensity he feels is not just for her, but for the integration of his fragmented self. This internal alchemy, transforming his projected desires into self-knowledge, is the sacred work she unwittingly initiates. In the hush between their words, he learns to listen, to the tremor in his chest, to the whisper of his own intuition, to the echo of archetypal symbols rising from the unconscious. His longing transforms from a frantic pursuit into a meditative inquiry. He begins to see her not as an object of conquest, but as a fellow voyager in the realm of inner exploration. Each moment beside her becomes a sacrament, each glance a communion with depths beyond the reach of ordinary consciousness. And yet she remains ever the mystery. Her power lies in the interplay of revelation and concealment, offering enough of her light to guide him while preserving the hidden sanctuaries of her soul. He is drawn into a dance of fascination and respect, learning to move with her rhythm rather than imposing his own. Gradually, he sheds the armor of expectation, discovering that vulnerability is the gateway to authentic connection. In embracing his own wounds, he touches the essence of her spiritual femininity. He does not tame her, he aligns with her. He does not measure her by his standards, he celebrates her beyond them. In the mirror of her grace, he finds his own reflection, whole and unafraid. And in that mirrored union, obsession dissolves into devotion, to himself, to her, to the eternal unfolding of the soul. She moves through his dreams like an oracle of forgotten truths, her silhouette cast against the tapestry of his inner night. He awakens in a cold sweat, haunted by fragments of her laughter echoing in the hollow chambers of his mind. In his waking hours, he catches himself speaking to empty air, rehearsing words he imagines escaping his lips when she stands before him, words that tremble on the edge of revelation. His obsession takes shape not as madness but as initiation, a passage through the threshold of his own unconscious. He chases her ghost through shadowed streets of memory, tracing patterns of longing that spiral back to the moment he first glimpsed the glint of her indifference. She is indifferent, and that indifference is her gift. In its chill, he discovers the fire of his own desire, unfiltered by flattery or the safety of reciprocity. He learns to distinguish between yearning for comfort and yearning for transformation. She embodies the anima in its purest dance, alluring yet unreachable, a presence felt more deeply than seen. In this dance, he confronts the man he believed himself to be, armed with defenses, tethered by expectations, weighed down by the fear of inadequacy. Her silence becomes a chisel, carving away the false self until only the radiant core remains. He recalls the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." In his pursuit, argument becomes unnecessary, transformation becomes inevitable. Each glance she allows, each shard of vulnerability she offers, is an invitation for him to step into integrity. His obsession, once a frantic scramble for possession, evolves into a disciplined practice of self-examination. He begins to journal at dusk, tracing patterns of his emotional reactivity, naming the fears, abandonment, unworthiness, rejection, that rise to the surface. In the stillness of pen on paper, he encounters the relics of past relationships, the wounds that fester beneath layers of rationalization. She watches him, not as a lover, but as a witness to his unfolding. In her gaze, he sees the reflection of his potential, an integrated man who has redeemed his shadow. Yet she offers neither praise nor correction. She remains the unspoken question. What would it mean to stand before her as your whole self, without mask or pretense? He feels the magnitude of that question pressing against his chest like the hush before a storm. In her spiritual mystery, he discerns the blueprint of individuation, the sacred alchemy by which the ego and the unconscious coalesce into a conscious, free soul. But the path is thorned. He stumbles through his pride, misinterpreting her absence as rebuke. His heart drums with impatience, an ancient rhythm of the hunter, unwilling to pause. He texts impulsively, his words hanging like desperate lanterns in the void. She does not reply, and the void expands. In that emptiness, he stands at the edge of his compulsion. He has a choice: to flee back into the safety of old patterns, or to sit with the ache of longing until it becomes a teacher. Slowly, he learns that longing, when held in awareness, transmutes into creativity. His restless energy births poems, melodies, dreams he records before dawn. The obsession is no longer directed outward, but funneled inward, toward self-expression, toward the crucible of growth. She senses the shift. In the curve of her lips, he detects a trace of approval, not for his eloquence, but for his courage to feel. His vulnerability dissolves the barrier between them, but he resists the temptation to close the distance too quickly. Instead, he honors the space between their souls, recognizing it as sacred. He recalls Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He reacts with patience, curiosity, and respect. He learns to hold himself in her absence with the same tenderness he once reserved solely for her presence. In the weeks that follow, his world expands. He engages with friends who speak honestly of his transformation, remarking on the light in his eyes, the calm under pressure, the authenticity that vibrates through his voice. He gives back in his community, volunteering, mentoring younger men who have yet to meet their own shadows. In his actions, he redistributes the energy that once orbited around her, sowing seeds of compassion and wisdom. His obsession, once self-destructive, becomes an expression of purpose. She witnesses this unfolding with the serenity of one who has served her purpose. Her mystery remains intact, but its edges have softened. It is no longer a blade, but a guiding star. He approaches her one evening beneath a sky swollen with dusk, and for the first time he speaks without trembling. His words carry the weight of transformation, gratitude, recognition, and the humble desire to walk beside her, not behind her. She listens, her eyes reflecting the cosmos of his journey. In that moment, obsession dissolves into partnership, a union forged in the fires of inner work. He sees her not as an object to be tamed, but as an equal whose mystery invites mutual exploration. Together they stand on the threshold of a shared adventure, each initiated into the vast landscape of the other's soul. In the hush of early dawn, he awakens not to the phantom of her form, but to the resonance she's stirred within him, an echo of new strength and enticed calm. Gone is the frantic pulse that once drove him toward her. In its place, a measured rhythm, steady as a mountain's root. He feels the stirrings of gratitude for each moment of absence, each test of will, each encounter with his own darkness. For in that darkness, he discovered the lantern of his own consciousness, and she, the silent guardian who lit the wick. Yet destiny seldom unfolds in straight lines. A sudden crisis, a family illness, a betrayal among friends, throws him back into the cavern of old anxieties. He catches himself teetering on the edge of panic, the ego's old scripts clamoring for control. The familiar voices of fear whisper, "You are not enough. You cannot protect. You will fail." In the shadows of his mind, those voices swell, threatening to drown out his newfound clarity. It is here, in this crucible, that the lessons she imparted truly take root. He sits alone, baiting his breath against the waves of anxiety. He recalls Seneca's counsel to view obstacles as opportunities, to treat adversity as a teacher rather than an executioner. The memory of her silence, once agony, now serves as a steady drumbeat guiding him inward. He closes his eyes and conjures her presence, the calm intensity of her gaze, the soft arc of her breath. He allows the storm of his emotions to roar and then softens his grip, letting each wave pass without resistance. In the quiet aftermath, he opens his journal. He writes not only to chronicle his pain, but to translate it into insight. He names his fear as a primordial guardian, once necessary in boyhood, but now misaligned with the man he strives to become. He thanks it for its service and invites it to stand down. He rereads the lines until he feels the tremor of transformation pulse through his veins. In that moment, he steps from the role of victim into that of artisan, sculpting his psyche with deliberate intent. She reappears at the periphery of his journey, not as savior, but as fellow voyager. Their conversation at dusk meanders through the lands of vulnerability. He shares his failures, his moments of despair, the tremors of shame that occasionally resurface. She listens with the unwavering presence of a mirror, reflecting not judgment, but the invitation to wholeness. In hearing himself aloud, he discovers the alchemy of articulation. Trauma dissolves when spoken into the void, replaced by the quiet pride of honest witness. Together, they explore shadow work and practical ritual. At night, they write anonymous letters to the parts of themselves they wish to heal, resentment toward their fathers, guilt over unspoken desires, the ache of past disappointments. They burn these letters beneath a moonlit sky, the flames carrying their secrets into the ether. Each ember that drifts upward is a testament to their courage, their refusal to remain chained to the ghosts of yesterday. In these rituals, his obsession transforms into devotion. Devotion not to her, but to the sacred process of integration. He learns that she embodies not only the anima, but the goddess figure in countless myths, a bearer of paradox, both destroyer and nurturer, both storm and still lake. To love her is to honor the totality of the feminine divine in all its fierce tenderness. He composes a poem for her, lines that speak of starlit deserts and hidden oases, of scars that heal into constellations. It is raw, unpolished, a true reflection of his journey. When he shares it, she responds not with praise, but with a challenge. Name the wounds that still whisper in the quiet, and we'll star map them together. In that challenge, he feels the pulse of eternity. He names the fear of vulnerability, the shadow of entitlement in his desire. She guides him through meditation on those wounds, each inhalation a light, each exhalation a release. He sits in the glow of her feminine energy, and in that glow, the wounds become gateways rather than prisons. His world begins to bloom. In his work, he moves with ease and empathy, meeting colleagues' anxieties with the same reflective calm he learned from her. His friendships deepen as he shares his insights, thus teaching men to embrace their emotional landscapes rather than bury them. He watches as petals of transformation unfurl in others, an echo of the energy that once radiated from her. The garden of his life, once dormant, now hums with vibrant possibility. Yet even as he flourishes, her mystery remains intact, a compass he consults but never fully comprehends. That is her gift, to model how to remain whole in solitude, how to dance on the edge of the known and unknown, holding both with grace. He marvels at her capacity for self-reverence, the way she cultivates her inner temple with art, study, and silent prayer. He aspires to mirror her devotion, not by imitation, but by honoring his own rites of cultivation. Early morning runs into the hills, nights reading Aurelius by candlelight, journaling prayers of gratitude. They meet one final time beneath an ancient oak, its branches weaving the sky into fractal patterns. He lays his poem at the foot of its trunk, a humble offering. She stands beside him, a silent witness. He takes her hand, not to claim but to commune, and in that hand he feels the pulse of mystery, the heartbeat of the feminine divine. Their eyes meet, not as predator and prey, but as two souls in the sacred exchange of freedom and choice. He breathes in the magnitude of the moment, then exhales his final offering: respect, honor, and the willingness to walk forward in his own light. The forest holds its breath as his obsession, once a wildfire, settles into embers of devotion, to self, to mystery, to life. He bows, not in submission, but in gratitude for the initiation she bestowed. And as he turns to leave, he carries with him a resonance that will guide him through every choice, every longing, every shadow he encounters. In the days that follow, his world becomes an unfolding ceremony of presence. He moves through his routine with a newfound grace, each task suffused with the memory of her quiet intensity. The morning light that filters through the blinds carries with it the whisper of her teachings. Be still, be radiant, be relentlessly yourself. In the office, when a colleague's criticism stirs the old pangs of defensiveness, he pauses, breathes, and speaks from his center. He does not react, he responds. That distinction, once imperceptible, now shapes his interactions, forging a resonance that draws others toward authenticity rather than performance. He carries her mystery within him as a talisman, a silent companion in moments of doubt. When ambition beckons him toward hollow victories, he recalls the pulse of his own desire for depth. He asks himself, is this pursuit aligned with my true self, or am I chasing a phantom of approval? In that question lies his salvation. Her influence does not manifest as dependency, but as a lantern illuminating the path of conscious choice. He honors his own feminine and masculine energies alike, weaving them into a tapestry of wholeness that hums with integrated power. Sometimes, in solitude, he feels her absence as a flicker of longing. In those moments, he leans into the ache rather than fleeing from it. He journals until his pen bleeds understanding, naming the textures of his craving, the chill of abandonment, the fever of unspoken need, the hollow echo of past rejections. Each line is an incantation of reclamation, a spell that transforms longing into devotion to his own becoming. And in that process, he becomes both priest and temple, guardian of the sacred flame that once burned only for her. You might wonder if such intensity is sustainable, or if it will fade like the embers of a bonfire. But this is not a spark ignited by another. It is the steady glow of self-realization. When challenges arise, a project stalls, a friendship falters, the mirror of his fears returns, he greets them as old friends. He leans into discomfort as a sculptor leans into the marble, chiseling away illusions to reveal the statue within. He recalls Epictetus reminding him that adversity is a canvas for virtue, and so he paints with the pigments of equanimity, courage, and compassion. In time, he finds himself drawn to teach. He gathers a circle of seekers, men and women alike, under the canopy of a city park at twilight. He shares anecdotes of his odyssey, the collapse of his ego, the ignition of his shadow work, the alchemy of desire transformed into purpose. His voice carries the cadence of lived truth, and those who listen feel the tremor of their own buried longings. He does not preach, he reflects. He guides them through the labyrinth of self-inquiry, offering prompts that echo her provocations. Where does your longing live? What part of your soul lies in wait? In the circle's hush, he witnesses the birth of new awakenings. Yet even as he teaches, he remains a student. A fleeting romantic interest emerges, someone who mirrors aspects of her mystery without the weight of his obsession. He notices the familiar pull of his old patterns, the rush to close distance, the temptation to project fantasies onto her silhouette. Instead of surrendering, he pauses. He honors her autonomy and his own. He moves deliberately, guided by the integrity he inherited from the woman who would not be tamed. In doing so, he offers this new connection the respect of unpressured space, allowing it to unfold or dissolve with equal acceptance. You may ask, what of her? The woman whose spiritual mystery first stirred him. Does she remain an idealized specter, or has she become a living counterpart? He knows that elevating any person to myth risks the betrayal of their humanity. Instead, he carries her teachings as treasures in his own heart, independent of her presence. Their paths may never cross again, or they may converge under different skies. Either way, he is unshaken, for his devotion is not to her form, but to the archetypal forces she awakened within him. On certain nights, he returns to the oak grove alone, placing a hand on the rough bark where they once stood together. He closes his eyes and thanks the tree for its silent witness. He whispers an affirmation of his promise, to keep tending the fire of his inner work, to honor the mystery in every human soul, to choose freedom over fixation. The wind stirs the leaves, as though the grove itself murmurs its approval. His life ripples outward. In his family, he practices presence rather than platitudes, listening to loved ones with the full weight of his attention. In his community, he fosters spaces for honest dialogue, bridging chasms of misunderstanding with empathy. At night, he studies again the Stoics and the depth psychologists, weaving their insights into his own evolving philosophy. He becomes a living testament to the power of shadow work, that the greatest obsession is an obsession with self-mastery. And through it all, the residue of his initial fixation fades into a testament of devotion transformed. He moves forward, no longer driven by the hunger to possess, but propelled by the freedom to choose. His journey waves outward like concentric ripples on a still lake, each circle a new opportunity to practice the art of conscious living. In the hush of dawn's first light, his heart is no longer tethered to her absence, but buoyed by the sovereignty he has reclaimed. Each breath carries the weight of battles fought in silent chambers of his mind, each exhale a release of the relics he once treasured as truths. He moves through the world with the poise of one who has passed through fire and emerged unburned, his contours shaped by the crucible of desire transformed into devotion to purpose. No longer is he a seeker in her shadow, he is a beacon unto himself. She remains an archetype, the priestess of the unknowable, the sovereign of her own fate. Yet her mystery now mirrors back his own, the vast terrain of uncharted potential that lies within each soul. In this mirroring, the initial obsession dissolves like mist before sunrise, leaving only the oxygen of self-realization. He understands that attraction, at its most elemental, is the gravity of shared evolution, not the weight of possession. You, watching now, might feel the stirrings of a similar hunger in your breast, the desire to be seen, to be revered for the totality of your being. Do not fear that hunger. Let it guide you into the sanctum of your own psyche, where your shadow and your light coalesce in a symphony of wholeness. When you stand in your own mystery, silent yet luminous, you transform from quarry into sovereign. He recalls the final lessons she imprinted upon him without uttering a single word, lessons woven into the empty spaces between their conversations, into the guarded corners of her gaze. First, that power resides not in domination, but in detachment. To release his need to control her was to free himself from the prison of compulsive yearning. Second, that silence can be louder than any plea. In stillness, one hears the voice of truth resonating through the caverns of the soul. And third, that true union arises from two free beings aligned by choice, not from the desperate clasping of wounded egos. In honoring these lessons, he has become a living testament to the alchemy of individuation. His ego and his unconscious have danced until their edges blurred, forging an integrated self that moves through life with both assertion and surrender. He honors his masculine drive to act and his feminine call to intuit, weaving them into an ornate tapestry of conscious choice. His world unfolds like a mandala, relationships built on mutual sovereignty, creativity flowing from unguarded wells, purpose humming at the core of each intention. He cherishes stillness as ardently as he celebrates action, knowing that the two are not opposites but partners in the grand drama of being. In every fleeting encounter, he offers the gift of presence, and in doing so, he discovers that the true measure of attraction lies not in the chase, but in the resonance that awakens between souls. She watches from afar, an eternal flame in her own right, her mystery as potent as ever. But there is no longer a fissure between them, only the shared landscape of archetypal truth. She is no longer an idol to be worshipped, nor a prize to be won, but a fellow architect of transformation, a living echo of the feminine divine. And now, as his obsession has been transmuted into devotion to self, he stands at the threshold of limitless possibility. He bows once more to the silent goddess who first lit his inner torch, and bows just as deeply to the man he has become. In that bow, the cycle completes. Seeker becomes guardian, shadow becomes light, obsession becomes freedom. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.